Hi, I'm Dee Dee from Spot 27. You're gonna have to excuse me because I just got off of work, so I'm a little bit tired and a little bit rough around the edges right now, but this is what we're working with. So, we're still in Confessions from an Honest Wife by Sarah Zacharias Davis. This book has been an interesting one. I've had it for years. I just come back to it often, but basically tonight we're going to talk about friendship and marriage. And the lady that it's from the point of view of a lady named Susanna. And so I guess to give a little bit of a background on her, she basically was saying that she didn't really care to be married. She felt like, yeah, maybe one day, but I'm kind of enjoying my life as it is. But then pretty much she decided, you know what, actually I don't want to live life alone. I want to be married. So somebody that she'd been keeping like correspondence with, they began to formally date, and 4 months after that they were married. She was all prepared for this wonderful friendship that was going to come out of the marriage. They were going to be so close and so intimate and all these great things, and that didn't happen, and that was a little bit disappointing for her. Uh, Essentially, I mean, I think a lot of people do have a lot of preconceived notions about what marriage will be. You know, I'm marrying the love of my life and the wedding and the this and the that. And it's all about that moment when you say I do. And there's so many expectations that are supposed to be lived up to after that moment. And then when it doesn't happen the way you planned for it to happen, it's such a crash. It's such a disappointment. You don't know whether to blame yourself, blame your spouse, blame society for all of these like things of grandeur that you dream up in a marriage. I mean, really, two people are coming together to live the rest of their lives together, and all that entails. So, yeah. So reality hit Susanna, and so she was saying that she didn't really feel comfortable, you know, the intimacy that she craved with her husband. She now felt like, you know what, maybe this intimacy thing isn't such a great idea. What if I'm rejected? If I pour out my heart to him and he's not feeling what I'm saying, I don't know if I can come back from that. So she tried to have these conversations with her friends, but you can't really discuss everything like that with your friends. I know the Bible does talk about, you know, the older women in the church teaching the younger women. So I do think that in some respects you should have some type of a mentor or somebody that you can look up to for advice, somebody that's been there before. Um, but for the most part, you know, there's a couple things that I want to say on this note. Married people should not be talking to single people for advice. Okay, you need somebody that's gonna say, okay, girl, let's pray about this. Let's talk about this. What are some options to work through this? You need somebody that's gonna be championing. I can't talk right now. Championing you in your marriage. Okay. Again, this is not necessarily concerning a physical situation, but more just every marriage is kind of go through rough patches type situation. You don't want your single girlfriend that can be out hanging out and dating and doing all this stuff. We love her, but we don't want that to be the person that's giving us advice, because grass can look greener on the other side, and you may be ready to like ditch before, you know, it's time. So don't go to single people for advice. Okay, so anyway, she also found that like her friendships that she did have were getting in the way of her opening up to her husband, and maybe the way that she could have. And that's something that she had to learn over the years. Things, I mean, marriage, I'll say it's kind of trial and error. What does work for you in your household may not work for the next person in their household. So while you're getting advice, you have to look at the factors in your house before you just try to apply the principles from somebody else's house. Um, she said that it was 26 years of marriage, okay? Um, And in recent years, she was finally able to experience that deep, abiding friendship that she'd always dreamed of. And it's a beautiful place to be as a couple, but it takes a long time to get there. So there will be things where it seems like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. This man is driving me crazy. What did I do when I said I do? That's natural. But there will be also times where you're reminded of, that's why I married that man. You know, it might be just the way he walks across a room and he's so sure of himself, or it might be the fact that when you're upset, he can perceive that and just holds you and puts that still peace in your life. You know, it's just things like that that I think make the difference. After you get married, your relationship with your husband will change. You guys will grow into hopefully better versions of yourself, but as you do that, interest will change, you will change, and you hope that you guys can grow together. And to do that, you have to have that awareness and that availability at the same time to be able to meet whatever the necessary needs are or requirements at that time, and that goes vice versa. So I mean, honestly, friendship in marriage is priceless. That's what's going to help you when the times get rough. Yeah, I mean, don't get rid of all your friends. I mean, unless they're damaging to your relationship, of course. But if you're holding on to them and you can't move forward with your husband because you got to go hang out with so and so, or you know, it's just not respective of your respect. They're not respecting your time. I can't talk today. That's something to consider as well, as far as considering talking to that friend and saying, hey, you know, we either need to do things differently or I might have to back up from this, because you have to protect your marriage. At the end of the day, you have to protect it or nobody else will. At the end of her discussion, she was basically saying that, like, she felt like she had traded in her a fake set of pearls, like costume jewelry, for a new set of pearls. And she makes the point to say, and you know how pearls are fashioned, you know, they're fashioned over time, and there's an irritant inside of the oyster, you know, that there's an irritant inside of the oyster that makes this beautiful thing, you know, and to make sure that it's real, you kind of bite down on it, and if it doesn't, you know, crumble, you know, you've got the real deal. And so marriage is just like that. You know, you're going to go through things, and it might be an irritant, and it might be hard to deal with, but at the end of the day, it's going to be something beautiful if you just stick with it. And again, we're talking not about anything necessarily physical. That's a different conversation. But we are definitely talking about just everyday challenges that come in a marriage. They will happen, but if you have that friendship there to add some structure and strength to your marriage, when the times get hard, you're going to esteem your husband or your spouse better than yourself, because that's your friend. Okay, so anyway, let us know what you think, and talk to you later.